Thank you, Aish. Delighted to be here today with Professor Yunus. So definitely, I think let's get the conversation started. Of course, we know Professor Yunus, who is a Bangladeshi social entrepreneur, economist, civil society leader, and of course, a Nobel Peace Prize winner. So pleasure to be here with you, Professor Yunus.
Thank you. Delighted to be here too.
Yes. Interestingly, we're connecting, I believe, from totally different ends of the world. Me here, right here in the Caribbean, and of course, you're on the other side of the world. But definitely, Professor Yunus, looking at your experiences and of course, your journey within the civil society movement, could you just maybe take us back, and maybe that's a good way to start, as to when or what really inspired you, back in the days to really, where you had that sort of motivation and recognition that the need for to lead and become that sort of leader. Maybe not necessarily what age, but what was your trigger that got you into involved into this movement?
Yeah, this is something that I never thought of, that something I'll do. This is never in my plan. And I was pushed into it. And I started teaching in the university. And I saw extreme poverty. I knew about poverty all along. That's not new. But this was extreme form to the extent we had to confront a famine in 1974. People are dying every day because they didn't have enough to eat. Here I am teaching grand theories of economics in the classroom with lots of enthusiasm. And I see outside the classroom, people are dying because they don't have enough food to eat. So I got very frustrated that what I learned in school, what I learned from classroom, didn't give me any chance to be helpful, to be useful to people around me. So I felt that whatever I teach, these are empty words, has no meaning in the life of the people. The more I looked at it, the more frustrated I got. And I said, I'm not going to do this. It's something that I wasted my time on, my life on, that which didn't make me somebody to make me more useful rather than no useful at all. So I was thinking how to find a use for myself. And that's the beginning of the frustration to some kind of way out for that. So after several days of this, wondering what I should do, one idea came, why don't I just go to the village next door, next to the university campus, be with the people and see if I can find something to do to make make myself useful to other people. So I was trying to see how I can be of some use to somebody, even for a day, even for a tiny little thing, rather than just rot around, not doing anything. So that was the first jump that I did. And I started enjoying it, doing every day, talking to people, learning things, and started doing something for somebody, and very little, very insignificant thing. But in the process, I got familiar with people. So that's the way I became gradually involved in many different things, some series of things which are no longer insignificant became significant. And one of those things was loan sharking in the village. People are victims of the loan sharks. So I was thinking, how do I protect at least one or two people for not getting victimized by the loan sharks? So I was wondering what I can do. One idea came to my mind, why don't they start lending money to those people? If I lend the money, they don't have to go to loan shark and the problem is solved. Until then, I never thought about lending or anything, just trying to protect people from the loan sharks. So I started doing that out of my own pocket, giving money, small amount of money. They didn't need that kind of money, $2, $5, $10, that kind of money. And it became very popular. So it started growing bigger and bigger, larger and larger number of people doing that. And that took me a completely different road, which later on, I got into lots of controversy with the conventional banks. I said, conventional banks are all wrong. They are lending money to the people who already have money. Real banks should be lending money to people who don't have money, rather than give the money to people who have money.
It's good to see. Maybe Professor Yunus, looking at the time, I just wanted to draw your attention just to, of course, I know you've known for saying regarding that poverty, and we spoke about poverty earlier on, and that it is meant to be in a museum. Essentially, looking at that, and of course, looking at the current challenges which we face globally, the health crisis, and of course, the myriad, the economic issues, high debt levels, etc. Maybe just in brief, would you say, as we get to the close of this session. Do you still
Yeah,
believe that poverty deserves in the museum?
quickly, I will say yes, indeed. That's what I was saying. Poverty is not created by poor people. Poverty is created by the system that we built. So unless we fix the system, poverty will never disappear. So we have to fix the system so that poverty disappears. Only place you can see poverty will be in the poverty museum, because there is no trace of poverty in the whole world. Our young children will go to see what was something that called poverty. So we have to create museums for them to see what poverty was like. And they'll be horrified to see how people were punished for no fault of their own. So this is what we wanted to do, and create those kind of things. And I still say the present economic system is the culprit. So this is the culprit that we have to redesign completely. This is taking us in the wrong direction. And I said the older generation cannot help us because their minds are contaminated by old thinking, old way of doing. So young people has to distance themselves from the older generations. Because if you are influenced by the older generation, you'll be again pushed back to the same old roads that created all the problem. And my point is, if you follow the old roads, you'll always end up with the old destination. If you want to go to a new destination, you have to build new roads. And new roads have to be built by new people, because otherwise they'll get mixed up between the old and the new. So distancing from the old thinking, old people's influence is a very important thing for young people to grow up rather than be guided from them. And I say this world has created global warming. This world, this current thinking has created also extreme amount of wealth concentration. All the wealth is concentrated in few hands of the world. 99% of the wealth is controlled by 1% of the population. And 99% of the population has nothing, just simply less than 1% of the wealth. So that kind of world has to be reversed. So the wealth and the people should be living together rather than wealth getting separated out from the people. So this is the kind of thing, with reversal of the system, like we created the microcredit, which is the reversal of the banking system. Bank goes to rich, we go to the poor. Bank wants collateral. We said, forget about collateral. Bank says we go to men. We say we go to women. Bank says we go to the city center. We say we go to the rural areas. So we reversed everything that the conventional banks do. So similarly, we have to reverse all the thinking process we have. And then we have to create a world without unemployment. These are the 3 zeros that I keep telling the young people. We have to create a world of 3 zeros. Zero net carbon emission. To stop global warming, to end up global warming. Zero wealth concentration, to end poverty once for all. And zero unemployment by unleashing the power of entrepreneurship among young people. All the young people should be entrepreneurs, not job seekers. Old thinking pushed us into taking jobs. Job is a slavery. That's not what we want to do. We want to be independent people. We are born as entrepreneurs. So our schools, our learning that we will create will be something make us able to use our own creative power to change the world that it is. So we will create a world of 3 zeros, and that's the direction. What we are suggesting now, forming 3 zero clubs for young people, forming 5 young people get together and form a 3 zero club. Pursue these on their own rather than get guidance from the older people and so on. So we'll network with all these micro clubs of 5 people globally to change the world in their own way. Young people have all the energy, all the creative power to change the world. So they don't need anybody else's power to make it happen.
Thank you, Professor Yunus. I think all I can say after this is that you're giving us, I'd say, the perfect formula, as we'd say in science, for a more just, equitable, and sustainable world, whereby young people can have the power and can actually utilize that power for us all. So thank you again, Professor Yunus. We're out of time, but thank you for your time. And I think certainly inspirational words, and like I'd say, a recipe for a sustainable world for all. Thank you, Professor Yunus.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Over to you, Aisha.